So where to start? Well, the permaculture approach says that before you design or build, make sure that you take the proper analysis and assessment of your site. The site is truly the first place to begin. Understanding your site and the various effects of the environment on your site will save you problems down the road and indeed create an aquaponics system that follows the permaculture design approach and will be more integrated into your landscape, requiring less service and maintenance from you in the future. It can also greatly reduce the need for expensive heating fuels, air conditioning, swamp coolers, ventilation, and things of that manner when setting up your greenhouse. And if you're growing out of a greenhouse, it can greatly reduce the amount of shading, increase the amount of lighting, can create sun traps to trap heat and create microclimates. And using the permaculture design approach, you can also identify areas that might be a problem, such as drift from another farm, noise pollution, eyesores, air pollution, erosion, and as well as leaf litter and things that might fall into your tank and create a maintenance issue down the road. After you build your system, many of these things are hard to correct. Make sure you do a thorough analysis and assessment of your system and your site first before you build it. When I say analysis of your system, that's the second part I would like you to look at. So if you're going to look at all the various components of your site, such as sun exposure, shade exposure, sun orientation, wind orientation, flow, meaning where does the traffic move the most? Where are the areas that humans are the most? Where is the area where you are the most so that you can look at, inspect, and care for your system more easily? Is there an opportunity to place your greenhouse on the south side of your house? Perhaps connecting it to your house, building it up against your home. Our passive solar greenhouse is connected directly to the south side of our home. And on sunny days in the winter, we just simply open up our door, turn on a small fan, and draw that hot air into our home, requiring no heating fuel or fire to be burned in the home to keep it nice and comfortable. These are amongst the many advantages that we've enjoyed using the permaculture approach. So where to start? Like mentioned before, when doing a thorough permaculture analysis and assessment of the site, you want to look at things like zones and sectors. When I talk about zones, I'm talking about influences on the site, a classic permaculture approach. Influences on the site include a fire sector, a wind sector, a noise sector, a flood sector, and things of that nature. These are very important to understand, and understanding the movement of the energies throughout your site. What about zones and zonation? Zonation is a term used in permaculture to best describe how often you need something and how often something needs you. That something being an element in your system. And remember, an element could be as simple as one of these plants. One plant equals one element, or you could look at it as a group of plants equals an element. Like a permaculture garden could be an element, or an aquaponic garden could be an element. However, once the elements are understood and their relationships in the system, it's time to design. Well, first, I would recommend that you know it before you grow it. And what I mean by that is make sure you have a thorough understanding on what you want to grow, and if you intend to sell it, make sure you've sold it to the best of your ability before you've even grown it. That way you can custom tailor what your aquaponic system will be designed like to meet the needs of the various vegetables and fish that you'll be growing in the system itself. A great example would be, if I have a high demand for trout and kale, then I'm going to build an aquaponic system based on permaculture design that has the Mother Nature's natural embrace to keep it cool in the summer. So I bury my tanks when I grow trout, and I try to bury my grow beds as far as possible when I'm growing cool crops like kale and watercress. This enables me to keep the water cool much more easily in the summertime, and I'm using the natural cool qualities of the earth itself to acquire that. That's a great permaculture concept. But if I didn't know it before I grew it, and do the analysis and assessment of what I wanted to grow, and in fact sell the produce or do an assessment of my family on what they like to eat, then I wouldn't know how to design a system to meet the needs of that crop. So if that makes sense, go ahead and do a thorough analysis and think through before you make any decisions what in fact you want to grow. Is it something you want to grow for your family? Is it something that you enjoy eating yourself? Or is it something that you hope to sell? Make sure you ask yourself these basic questions. Once you understand what you want to grow, the next steps are to build the system to meet those needs. Another example would be the water flow of the system. The water flow can be slightly less compared to a trout, which prefers high-flowing water, more oxygen, and a faster water exchange because they're less tolerant to dirty water conditions. So, once again, understanding the crop will enable you to best make these decisions before you build your aquaponic system. Remember, the motto of the day is know it before you grow it. And I hope this helps you become more successful in your permaculture approach. See you next time.